The funding for this video is provided by the amazing members of our Patreon. Also contributions from viewers like you. Thank you. Yeah, I started from PBS Kids. What you gonna do? Fight me? Anyway, roll the video.
My prince will love ponies too. It's from Leshawna. Yo, Harold, if you play that skinny rich girl song and think about me, I'll have to kill you.
Okay. If you have no idea who Sarah Bartman is, you will after this video. Hey y'all, it's Harriyanna and I'm back with another video. Hi, hello, how are you guys doing? My name is Harriyanna and welcome to or welcome back to the pirate ship, also known as Harry Hook's pirate ship. I am the captain. You are not my first mate. I don't got no first mate because you want to know why? I let everyone in on a little secret when they come to my channel. Nobody is worthy of being the first mate. But hi, hello, how are you guys doing? My name is Harriyanna and I like to make content based off of nostalgia and family and children's entertainment and all the issues that I find within those spaces, okay? We talk about total drama all the time here today, and today I want to give you guys a nice little black history lesson that pertains to this show, because y'all need to, oh Jesus, no. It's a proven fact that total drama did not age well. When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, and when it's ugly, it is ugly as fuck. And when it is offensive, damn, it is offensive. Total Drama Island is a Canadian animated series that grew popularity when it was aired here in America a year after its first season was released. It aired reruns on Cartoon Network. The series is about a group of teenagers that are in a competition to win a whole bunch of money, okay? It is a parody of teen dramas, reality television, and competition shows. One thing about Total Drama is that it was very smart at the time period because nobody thought of doing something like this when an animated series, and it captured the essence of teen drama and reality TV greatly. I have to give it credit when it's due. Relationships are a big factor when it comes to the Total Drama series overall, because relationships is one of the most important. I don't really think it's the most important, but it is a prominent factor when it comes to teenhood, which is not a problem at all, okay? Total Drama is just known to have horrible relationships where they start off cute and then they end up being boring, dry, or just fucking horrible in the end. Total Drama deserves to get dragged for its terrible relationships, okay? I will never, ever, ever forgive the Total Drama writers for what they did to Trent and Glenn. They had something so fucking beautiful and they ruined it. No. So while some relationships were very cute, some were better before they started dating. And then there was just some that I just did not care for at all. And then one of them was just straight up abuse. This wasn't even a relationship. How did they get away with this? But there is one particular relationship in this show that mirrors a very, very serious world problem that dates all the way back to slavery, okay? We are not lying when we say slavery, as in the United States slavery that took place in the 1700s and the 1800s, has taken a big toll on North America, okay? Slavery has taken a toll on all of us, not even just North America, worldwide. Because so many of the issues that have to do with the dating pool all refer back to slavery, okay? Like the entire colorism and preference shit, slavery. When I tell y'all, slavery still affects society to this day, we are not over exaggerating it. It's true. Tell that to Kanye. While I do consider myself a big fan of the Total Drama series, I have only seen the first 3 seasons simply because those were the only 3 seasons with all the original cast members. I have seen the first season of Total Drama, which is Total Drama Island, so many times that I can quote it word from word, okay? I can just hear something going on and I'm like, yep, I know which episode that is. But another reason why I just never decided to watch past season 3 of Total Drama, because not only does it not have the original cast members anymore, I think I've seen enough when it has come to the issues within this series. I'm pretty sure all of the issues that happened in the first 3 seasons are just a repeat in the last 3. I know they started to do better with the way they portray people of color, but from other things I heard it was not that much better. There's so many issues within the first 3 seasons of the show. I already know it's in the rest of them, alright? It's always something sus with Canadian shows, okay? It's not even Canadian animation. It's Canadian television, okay? Shut up, phone. Like with Derek, it's always something up with Canadian TV. Even my little Babysitter's a Vampire was a little sus too, cause Canada, what y'all doing? The short-lived relationship between Harold and Leshawna in the series is honestly way more concerning now that I'm an adult than it was for me as a child. Because as a kid, I thought it was cute. As a teenager, I thought it was funny. But now that I am an adult, I noticed that this relationship is actually extremely problematic. It wasn't even really a relationship to begin with because they got together and then quickly broke up afterwards. Everyone on Total Drama portrays a stereotype, which one is not a problem. It doesn't become a problem when it comes to stereotypes until it becomes a racial stereotype. A lot of times there's a lot of misogyny when it comes to female stereotypes, but that's not the topic for this right now. We're talking about racial stereotypes. I've stated before plenty of times on this channel that Leshawna was the show's way of making fun of black women and girls when they are on reality television, okay? She represents how black women are portrayed on reality TV. Like, you know, I don't even remember her name. Y'all remember that one girl Tyra Banks yelled at like really bad? Her. And she was like, I ain't never had to yell at a girl like that before. Her and like Tiffany Pollard types, okay? That's what Leshawna represents in Total Drama.
Are you gonna pay for my jacket? Cash, credit, or charge? Because you will buy me a new jacket.
No, I'm worried about.
You know why you took it? Because you feel threatened. You know, at least, you know what? I might be a bitch to the heart, but at least I don't smile in all these girls' faces because you are a wolf in sheep's clothing. I'm not. I'm a wolf. You see me coming.
I find it funny when it comes to Leshawna because when you look at the other characters in Total Drama, you can see that they are parodies and satires of other typical teen tropes that we see in other teen shows. But when we look at Leshawna, not only is it's just very unsettling, and it's also a bit of adultification because most of the times when we saw black women on reality TV, they weren't really kids for the most part. They were grown adults in their 20s. So Leshawna's character, I loved her as a kid because yes, I'm a black girl. I love to see other black girls on television. But now that I'm a black woman, I have realized that not all representation is good representation because the shit that happens in this series with the black girl, because there were plenty of other black, or not plenty, but there were other black girls in this series. So much of what is done with Leshawna's character is not okay. And to be honest, if you're not a black woman, I high-key do not care what you have to say about Leshawna, okay? I'm a black woman. I think she's offensive. Numerous other black women out here think Leshawna's character is offensive and hurtful, okay? Listen to black women, please. Argue with the wall if you don't think Leshawna's character is not offensive. So if you're not a black woman, just hush when it comes to Leshawna, please. But this aspect of the series is beyond just Leshawna. It's just this entire dynamic right here is extremely concerning, and I would just like to know what the actual hell was going through Teletoon and Fresh TV's mind when they thought it was okay to put this in here. Like, why did y'all think of this shit? First of all, I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea from what I am talking about in this video. There is absolutely nothing wrong with white men and black women dating, okay? There is nothing wrong with interracial dating, period. The entire concept of interracial dating is okay. There is nothing wrong with white men being interested in black women, but the way this show went about it was not the best way to go. Harold fetishized her. I know some people are gonna say that it's not that deep, but it is. If you don't think it's that deep, I just don't want to hear it. Just click off the video. I don't care. Fetishization, especially the fetishization of black women, especially here in North America, because you know, Canada is considered North America, alright? It is a huge problem, and it is time that we learn about it. One thing a lot of y'all praise me is that I teach y'all so much of the stuff that we don't learn in school, and it's actually very important. I highly recommend watching Intellectual Media. Amazing, amazing woman. Now back to this, okay? Today I am going to talk to you guys about a play that I read for school a few years back called Venus by Suzan Lori Parks. Venus by Suzan Lori Parks is my introduction to Suzan Lori Parks' works. She is an American writer, she is a playwright, and she has also written screenplays for television, alright? As Venus was my introduction to Suzan Lori Parks, it really set the tone for her entire work because a big chunk of her catalog, if not 90% of her catalog, is about the Black experience. Her work does not shy away from the hardships of being Black. She goes there and then some, okay? She is not afraid to go too far. When we want to talk about how bad racism can get, she goes there. She's not afraid to shy away from the subject that makes self-hating Black people and non-Black people who dislike Black people uncomfortable.
I've had so many meetings where so many people of all kinds of colors and genders will try to put me in my place. And I'm not going to name names or anything like that, but our industry is full of folks who try to shut you down every single day. And you have to call on, you know, the spirit to help you. Sometimes you call on a friend to help you. Sometimes I lean on, you know, there's a lot of, we have a very strong community. And it's just, we need to know that we are women of color need to know we are a strong people, which does not exclude or diminish the strength of others.
Venus. What is it about and what the actual fuck does this story have to do with total drama? Venus, the story overall, is about a Black woman who is fetishized and exploited for having a big butt. That is the overall summary of the story, but if you want to go into detail, listener and viewer discretion is advised because this shit is very disturbing. Venus follows the story of Sarah Bartman, also referred to as Sargie Bartman, the Black woman taken from her home to work for a white showman who puts her in a human zoo, also known as a freak show, okay? This man is so amazed by her body, he takes her from her home and he puts her on display for everyone to laugh and pick at and make fun of her. They didn't even call her by her real name. They called her the Venus Hottentot. By the way, y'all, Hottentot is an offensive word and you cannot use that shit, okay? Unless you are talking from a historical point of view, unless you are talking about history or anything like that, you cannot say that word. It is offensive. So, I don't want to see none of y'all out here calling Black women Hottentot. Don't you dare do that shit. So then there is this one man from Paris, it's always Paris, who is obsessed with Venus. I don't want to refer to this woman as Venus, okay? We're going to call her by her real name, and that is Sarah or Sargie or Sarah Bartman. I'm just going to go ahead and say Sarah because that's who I introduce you guys to, okay? He has this obsession with Sarah. After his first time seeing her, he keeps coming back to this show, and he's so obsessed with her and her body that he buys her and makes her his mistress. Sarah thinks this man bought her because he loves her, and technically, yes, this man did love her, but he loved her because he was so amazed by her, if that makes sense. He loves her because he's amazed by her and he uses her to study on her. He's basically using her body for research. One interesting factor that I have learned when I was doing my research when it comes to slavery and, you know, Black women being over-sexualized for anything and every little thing that they do, because I learned that when the white people came to Africa and they saw how so many of the women were wearing revealing clothes, they weren't wearing revealing clothes to be sexual or promiscuous or anything. They were wearing revealing clothes because it was hot. It's hot as hell out in Africa. It is a lot cooler in Europe than it is in Africa. And when it is cooler, you know what you do? You put on more clothes. When it's hotter, you take clothes off. This is why so many European men assume Black women are hypersexual, and that is not the case whatsoever. I keep telling y'all, slavery has affected almost so much of the bullshit right now in modern day, okay? I am not lying. So much of the bullshit that happens when it comes to the way Black women are perceived, so much of it can be dated back to slavery. And it's sad because Black women having, you know, more curvier bodies than white women didn't make this over-sexualization of them any better. This story focuses on human zoos and freak shows that made fun of people that were different and people that had disabilities. Y'all should have put that shit in The Greatest Showman, okay? Y'all did put in there slightly, but y'all should have told the entire story acting like that man was a good person, okay? We know the full story. Y'all want me to make a video about the true story about The Greatest Showman? Because that man was not a good person, as they try to say he is. Human zoos made fun of people who were seen as different, people with disabilities, and people of color quite often, okay? I have seen pictures of when there were a bunch of white people standing around like a crowd, and it was just little black children just running around doing whatever, and they were so amazed by that. This story also does focus on love because yes, it is a fucked up love story, but it is also one of the key factors. But the overall message that this story is trying to get across is the over-sexualization of black women. And it's sad because this story came out in the 90s. This entire situation with Sarah Baartman happened in the 1800s. It is fucking 2022. It's still relevant. And it's kind of worse than ever. It's weird because history is constantly repeating itself, but people don't seem to understand that it's going on over and over and over again because it's happening in different forms. As Sarah was this Frenchman's mistress, he was also sleeping around with other women. While he did love Sarah, he felt like she wasn't worthy enough to marry him. When he found out that she had an STD that he gave to her, he didn't want nothing to do with her no more and then punished her and then got rid of her. And then she was sent to jail, and you want to know what happened after she got sent to jail? She died there because she was so sick from the diseases that this man was giving her. They left her body there on display. Her dead body there on display, making money off of her and having people come and laugh and poke fun and be amused by her. It took so long for her to be laid to rest. I learned about Sarah Baartman's story a few years ago because we were studying Venus in my theater class, and once you learn about her and once you learn about this story, it will not leave your mind because it is just so utterly shocking, and it just hurts because, like I said, I'm a black woman. I'm pretty sure y'all know that. It's just really hurtful because damn, this really happened to a woman. Fetishization literally got her killed. Y'all see why this is dangerous now? After he gave her this STD, he felt like that she wasn't good enough for him. And when it comes to that, it's because he realized he couldn't fuck her anymore. The story is just so infuriating because this poor woman was manipulated into thinking that this man loved her, which he did, but he went about it the wrong way. She was manipulated into thinking that this man cared for her. But no, he treated her no better than everybody else. The saddest thing about Venus by Suzan Lori Parks is that Sarah Baartman was a real person. Yes, so much of the story is fiction, but the key factors with this tale are true. As I said earlier, people fetishizing her is what got her killed. Now here I am going to read you guys a piece of an interview that Suzan Lori Parks did when she began to talk about Venus, and I will be back with the rest of my commentary. By the way, y'all, this is Suzan Lori Parks verbatim, so if it sounds a bit odd and stuff like that, this was when she was actually talking, and I am just rereading that for you. Okay, let's begin. You retracted a lot of attention with the play called Venus. It was an unusual subject. Could you tell us how you came to write it? I was at a cocktail party. I heard someone talking about a woman named Sarah Baartman from the southern region of Africa. In the 1800s, so the history tells us, she was a part of what they called Hottentot or Caucasian peoples. Some of the women of the Caucasian peoples were distinguished by very large buttocks. So she came to England and was exhibited as a freak or as a curiosity, I think was the term they used. So I heard people talking about this over at a cocktail party, and I thought, wow, I really want to write a play about her. Actually, initially, it was including her in the play, which made a lot of people. I included her in the play, and of course she took over the play, and it became all about her. It's not a history play. It's not the History Channel. It's a play about her, and it's also about love. There are historical elements in it, and there's a lot of fiction in it, too. What was the response to your play, Venus? Well, people are still doing the play. Everywhere I go, people come up to me and say, I was in Venus. I was in Chicago the other day and I met this young man, Ian. I nicknamed him Art Gunfuckle because he looked like Art Gunfuckle. But his real name is Ian. He directed a production of Venus and he was just telling me, oh my God, it blew my mind. So it's been blowing minds. Sometimes people say, oh gee, you should have made more of this and this and that. And it reminded me that it's not the History Channel. It's a play, and she does have agency, so it stimulates a lot of conversation. But overwhelmingly, I think people who do the play and who see a production of the play, it's very moving. It's a very painful, sad, difficult play because ultimately it's about love, which is a difficult subject. If you really get into it, there's the character of the doctor. He loves her and he cuts her up, which is difficult. She's dead. He doesn't cut her up when she's alive, although he does. Well, anyway, you gotta read the play or see the play. Venus, in my opinion, is one of those stories that is extremely hard to forget. Because once you read this play or once you actually see this play, it just sticks with you, okay? Because I remember after I read the play for class, I went online to look at pictures of when people actually did the production of Venus, and I was just so utterly shocked because I was like, whoa. Not only because the subject matter of Venus is something that is not really talked about that much because it makes people uncomfortable, it also makes you question things, okay? Because you start to realize that the shit that was going on in that play still happens in modern day, just in different forms. When it comes to Venus, she had this really, really big butt, which is an important factor when it comes to this play because they always have this suit that the woman who is portraying Venus has to wear, and it's always this extra large booty. When we look at the character designs for the girls on Total Drama, we notice that leshawna's bottom is way bigger than anyone else's. She is the curviest girl on the show, and what makes it even more disturbing is that there have been few instances where she has put her ass in people's face. Like, this is a child. Yo, this show, when I sit back and look at it and think about it, I completely understand why so many of my classmates' parents didn't let them watch this shit. I could see why my auntie did not let my cousin watch this. I completely understand. I see why I never even asked my parents could I watch this show, and I just snuck and watched it. Even we knew it was wrong. As we read the story of Venus by Suzan Parks, this French man who claims to love her, we see that he does love her, but he's more in love with the idea of her. He loves what she can do for him, okay? He loves that he has someone that worships him like anything else. He loves that he has someone that can clean for him. He loves that he always has someone to have sex with when he's in the mood and doesn't feel like going out and looking for someone else. He loved her body more than her. He loved what she could do for him more than her. How Harold treated leshawna the first time he ever met her was no different than how all those white people were laughing at Venus when they came to see her in the freaking human circus. One weird thing I noticed when it came to Harold is because once he got used to seeing leshawna, he became a bit obsessive of her, if that makes sense. And that did happen in Venus. That did happen with Sarah Bartman, where there was that one particular man that kept coming back to see her because he was obsessed with her body and the idea of her. It's weird because he acted as if he owned her, and he technically later did own her, but once Harold started to see leshawna more and was around her a little bit more, I personally am starting to think Harold ain't never been around a black woman in his life. Because the way he was acting, the fuck no. We saw how Harold was starting to objectify her, and leshawna did like him. We could tell she did like him then and there, simply because he was giving her attention. No other boy on that island was giving her attention, at least was giving her positive attention. They were all being rude to her. leshawna thought that this attention that Harold was giving to her was cute, and that's why she started to like him back. And I'm so glad at the end of season 1 when they have that special episode where all the campers came back and went on one final quest, which ended up making them renew for another season, and they asses had to come back. leshawna realized that this was not what she wanted. She realized this relationship was not okay, and she decided to end things. They quickly broke up, and I was happy. As a kid, I was sad that they broke up. But now I'm an adult, yes, girl, end that shit. But they remained friends, so it kind of felt like they never broke up because they acted the same way they did after they broken up. But after they break up, you see that Harold so desperately wants to get back together with leshawna, and she was just not feeling him. The way Harold talks to and about leshawna makes me very, very uncomfortable as a black woman. Because so much of what Harold was saying about leshawna reminded me so much of what those white people were saying about Venus. He spoke about her like she wasn't human. He spoke about her like she was a, as I was saying before the camera cut off, he spoke about her like she was a toy. He saw her as a toy that he could play with. While I am very, very glad that the two's relationship was short-lived, because I think the writers even knew they was wrong as fuck for that. It's just really annoying when you continue to watch this series and realize that his behavior toward her didn't really change. He did not treat no other girl on this show like this. And I remember there was one other girl on this show that he was disrespectful to, named Courtney, because he assumed Courtney was disrespecting leshawna and he hit her. Courtney deserves better, y'all. They really had a white man hitting a girl of color on this show. What? Like, he literally put his hands on a girl of color. That was so unnecessary. Canada! While he was still badly in love with her, he was still one of the people that voted her off and told her on action. I was just like, go, bye, move. Yeah, leshawna was in the wrong, but at the same time, it was just like, I knew he was gonna turn on her eventually. But after that moment, we saw that this obsession that Harold had with leshawna did not fucking stop. And it just got to a point where we saw how leshawna was annoyed with Harold from time to time. But it got to a certain point where it just felt like she just stopped caring and she just tolerated the way he treated her. It's as if she gotten used to it, and that is so sad. Maybe it's because I'm a theater kid and I'm in school for race relations. But ever since I read Venus, it has truly changed the way I see interracial relationships, especially the way they're represented in the media. Like those couples on YouTube and TikTok that brag about being an interracial couple. I'm like, y'all look so corny. Please don't do that. Like those black girls that go out of their way to date fetishy white men and then they end up treating them like shit in the end. And the reason they treat them like shit in the end is because they didn't see them as human. Fetishization is not respect. The main reason fetishization is not respect is because they still don't see you as equal to them. They don't see you as a person. They see you as a toy that they can play with. They see you as an object. Black women in general, we're just sick and tired of not being seen as equal to everyone. Like, even when people speak about black women, they don't even talk about us the way they would talk about a white person. Y'all either treat black women like shit or little trinkets and toys that you can just play around with, and when you're done with them, you just let them go. You play with them and then you drop them when you see they're no longer benefiting you. Hollywood has a big issue with that shit. We're just tired and we are just over it. I highly do recommend giving Venus by Susan Lori Parks a read, okay? There are some productions out here on the internet that you can watch, because I do encourage people to support plays and to support theater, because that is the foundation when it comes to film and acting and all that shit. There will be no theater, there will be no Hollywood, there will be no film, and there will be no Hollywood if it weren't for theater. I highly recommend you guys get educated when it comes to theater history and all that shit, because it's a very dark one. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know this subject was very, very dark, as a lot of my other videos recently have been about very, very dark subjects, okay? But if you like this video, please give me the thumbs up. Let me know, have you ever heard of Sarah Baartman? And this is your first time ever hearing about Sarah Baartman? Leave a comment down below and tell me how you feel about her story. I'm genuinely curious to see how you guys feel about this crazy situation. You guys want to donate, links will be down below. I have a Ko-fi and a Buy Me a Coffee. I also have Patreon. Most expensive here is $5. The cheapest is $1. I try to keep everything very affordable over there. Link to that will be down below. I also have merchandise at harriyannahook.com. I also have a web series called The Progeny. If you guys want to support me for free, link to that will be down below. Also, another way you guys can support me for free is just follow me on everything. All my social media links are down below. Everything is just Harriyanna at HARRIYANNA. Thank you guys so much for watching and have a good night.
'cause I work hard to get to this point in my life. I'm blowing up, so don't hate, just congratulate.
The Powerpuff Girls will just blow your mind. Buttercup like villains 3 at a time. Bubbles will smile while kicking your butt, and Blossom will lead them out of their rut. Cherish and Powerpuff, 2 of a kind. Both wanna save the world before bedtime. From Townsville, Memphis, New York to LA, the Powerpuff Girls are just here to stay. They coming through and fighting, and everyone they shocking. You know no one can stop them all because of the chemical X. They coming through and fighting, and everyone they shocking. You know no one can stop them all because of the chemical X. They coming through and fighting, and everyone they shocking. You know no one can stop them all because of the chemical X. They coming through and fighting, and everyone they shocking.